The next part of our program is one that we've come to enjoy so much in the past few years. It's the pre-recorded video, The Inside Story. This installment of The Inside Story will be hosted by Brother Kenneth Stovall with our Theocratic Schools Department. So let's give attention to and enjoy this video.
Welcome to this edition of The Inside Story. Imagine yourself as a child growing up in a country where our work is under ban. What would that be like? You're going to find out as we talk to a couple from Romania. Are you familiar with the progress of our work in India? I think you're in for a few surprises as we talk to 4 students that come to us from the India branch. But let's get started by introducing our first guests. From Romania, please welcome Ionuț and Delia Cicho.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you, brother.
Welcome to The Inside Story.
It's a privilege to be here.
Yes, it is, but a nervous privilege.
Well, I hope you're not too nervous. Well, to start with, could you just help us to understand how the work got started in Romania?
The work started in 1911.
By 1919, there were over 1,700 publishers and 150 groups or congregations in Romania.
My goodness, that was very fast growth. But there was some opposition to the work.
Yes. In 1949, the communist government banned our work. And sadly, it lasted until 1990.
That's amazing. So that's 40 years under ban. But now, as I understand it, that's when both your families got the truth, when the ban was going on. Is that correct?
Yes. My mother was a baby when my grandparents got baptized, so she grew up in the truth. In fact, my grandmother was a pioneer under the ban for many years. Later, my 2 sisters and I were raised in the truth.
Very interesting. And Ionuț, what about you?
My parents were contacted by the witnesses 10 years before the ban was lifted. So my sister and I were also raised in the truth.
So this is very interesting. Often we have talked about brothers who were faithful under ban, who were adults, but you were children while the ban was going on, and you stayed faithful. So, Delia, do you remember what it was like going to meetings under ban?
Yes, we met secretly in small groups. The friends would arrive at different times. But once everyone was inside the home, we would lock the gate and the door and pull down all of the shades. The meetings were moved to a different location each week.
Very interesting. Now, it must have been, though, that you probably had to miss a lot of meetings under ban.
No, we didn't want to miss any opportunity to meet together.
But weren't you frightened? I mean, in these meetings where you pulled down all the shades, that you might be discovered or arrested?
You might think so, but the opposite was true. I felt the most safe when we were all together. You could feel Jehovah's protection.
That's very touching. So, Ionuț, did you and Delia know each other growing up?
Yes, we grew up in the same town, Negrești-Oaș, so our families knew each other.
So did your families then occasionally attend the same meetings?
No, we didn't. You see, my family was in a separate group from Delia's family.
In a separate group. Now, explain what you mean.
You might remember Brother Loș's video from the 2018 annual meeting. He explained how government spies infiltrated the witnesses in Romania, and this made it difficult to know who to trust. This caused the witnesses to separate into 2 large groups. One group stayed in contact with war headquarters in Brooklyn, and the other did not. But both groups continue to worship Jehovah.
Amazing. So you grew up, both of you as Jehovah's Witnesses, but associating with different groups. Now, did one group view the other group as apostates?
Generally, no. We didn't see the other group as apostates. Our beliefs were essentially the same.
Yes, I should mention that when I was small, I remember my mother stayed up one night studying. After a whole night of study, meditation, and prayer, she decided to switch to the group connected to the main organization. So that's why I grew up as a part of the group associated with the main organization.
My, it sounds like your mother was very conscientious and set a really good example for you.
I deeply appreciate her and my grandparents for being faithful examples and good teachers.
Okay, when you say good teachers, what do you mean?
For example, we kept beehives in our garden. My mother helped us see how Jehovah made them to be industrious. Then she drew the lesson that we can be industrious like the bees. In spite of the ban, we can stay busy serving Jehovah.
Those must be some cherished memories, those lessons like that. Now, I wonder, at meetings, since the literature was banned, what did you study?
At meetings, usually there was one copy of the Watchtower for the whole group. When the paragraph was read, we would listen and answer the question from memory.
My goodness, you had to pay really close attention at the meetings. Were there ever times when you could get together in larger groups?
We couldn't have assemblies and conventions, but we could have funerals, weddings, picnics. This became our assemblies and conventions.
Sometimes a funeral could have as many as 1,000 people, and it could last up to 4 hours.
Wow. Now, what about songs? The songbook would have been part of the banned literature. Could you sing songs at your meetings?
I remember being a child getting together to memorize the songs. We enjoyed it. It was entertainment for us.
So you memorized the songs. So if someone called out a song number, you could sing the song from memory.
Yes.
Yes.
What was going to school like under ban?
Our classmates, our neighbors, all knew we were Jehovah's Witnesses. Because when under ban, we didn't hide our identity as a witness. We just hid the things that government outlawed, such as meetings, preaching, literature.
So you must have been very determined to stay faithful in school. So whatever happened to the two groups?
I'm happy to say they reunited as one organization in 1988. Then the ban was lifted in 1990. The brothers were overjoyed.
I can imagine they must have felt a great deal of relief when they could go about their spiritual routine without the ban.
True. But I learned a lesson I never want to forget. Ban or no ban, we are always under attack by Satan. I saw brothers that stayed faithful during the ban, but fell away once the ban was lifted. As circumstances change, Satan will always look for new ways to attack us. So, ban or no ban, we must stay close to Jehovah.
Those are profound thoughts, Ionuț. Well, how is Jehovah blessing the work in Romania today?
Today there are more than 40,000 witnesses in Romania.
Actually, we brought a video that shows what's being done in Romania today. Would you like to see it?
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Jesus said, "Be on the watch for the false prophets who come to you in sheep's covering, but inside they are ravenous wolves." During the mid-20th century, government agents in Romania used techniques to infiltrate the congregation, feigning interest, posing as spiritual brothers. They were so convincing that some were even appointed as elders and given very responsible positions. Not knowing who could be trusted, a large group of brothers separated from the organization that was being used by headquarters. Still, they were really brothers in their heart. They loved the truth. So in 1988, a reunification of about 5,000 was accomplished. And now that our Romanian brothers and sisters were reunited, they could fully work shoulder to shoulder in sharing the good news of God's kingdom. This was beautiful timing because conditions in Romania were ripe for accelerated spiritual growth. In 1990, the ban that they had endured for more than 40 years was finally lifted. Brother Iwan Florian and Titu Bindiu remember the period of fiery tests. At one time, Brother Florian was part of the separated group. Brother Bindiu was always with a congregation that remained with the main organization associated with headquarters. They now serve together as elders in the congregation.
When I returned to Jehovah's organization, I had experienced the most profound and noble feelings that only someone who belongs to Jehovah's worldwide family could have.
Today, they serve in unity and enjoy many spiritual blessings. Like so many other mature ones with a similar background, their rich history and experience benefits younger ones. In just 6 years after the ban was lifted, the number of publishers nearly doubled. Regular pioneers increased by nearly 3,000%. There are now more than 40,000 publishers. Looking forward, the Romanian branch has begun working with the Central European branch to form foreign language circuits for Hungarian and Romani-speaking people. Recently, a seminar was organized for language instructors. The unity of our Romanian brothers and sisters is making it possible to reach people of all languages with the good news. The cold, insidious tactics of Satan's agents fail to separate our brothers from Jehovah and each other. And even now, Jehovah is blessing them with a spiritual paradise.
What a wonderful video. Obviously, the brothers in Romania, both the adults and the children, had a lot of courage and faith to keep their integrity under the ban. Thank you, Ionuț and Delia, for sharing your story with us. Now, let's introduce our next guests. From India, we have not 2, but 4 students. Please welcome Sarb and Geeta Dillon and Puneet and Ritu Agarwal. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, you all serve at the India branch, and as I understand, you are in English congregations.
Yes, there's several English congregations in India.
Very interesting. So, could we start by having you just explain a little bit about the background of the work in India?
Sure. The work got started around 1905. There was a man called A.J. Joseph. He had questions about the Bible. And somebody gave him books of Brother Russell. He read those books and came into the truth. And for around 60 years, he proved to be instrumental in establishing the work in India.
It is amazing how Jehovah used Brother Russell to spread the good news so far.
Yes, and in fact, Brother Russell went to India in 1912. And in one village, the villagers actually changed the name of the village to Russellpuram, which means the place of Russell.
Amazing. So is it still there today?
Yes, it's in the beautiful state of Kerala, which is in the south of India.
Now, there are a lot of misconceptions about India. Often when you see pictures, you see what appear to be tremendously overcrowded cities. But there must be more to India than that.
Yes. Yeah, brother. Actually, India is a very, very diverse country, and it's a very beautiful country. If you go to the north of India, you will have world-famous Himalayan mountains. If you go to northwest, you will find great Indian desert. Then if you go to southwest and southeast, you will have miles of beaches. And then in the southern tip of it, we have another natural beauty that's called backwaters. These are actually lagoons or lakes.
What a beautiful country.
Yeah.
What diversity.
Yeah.
And you know, the peoples and the cultures are as diverse as the country. In fact, we have over 700 languages.
700 languages. That's amazing. What about religion? Is it diverse also?
Yes, the majority of people are Hindus, but there's also Buddhists, and Muslims. In fact, there are several states in the northeast known as the Seven Sisters where people profess to be Christians.
How many people are we talking about?
Millions of people.
So there are millions of people in India that profess to be Christian.
Yeah.
I did not know that. So what's the situation with Jehovah's Witnesses in India?
Well, we have just under 50,000 witnesses in the whole of India. Now, that's a ratio of one publisher for every 27,000 people. Now, what that means is that some 90% of our territory is actually unworked. So the need over there is very, very great.
Well, I can see there's an amazing need.
You see, in those states where the people are or profess to be Christian, there's actually millions of people that you can speak to about the truth very easily. But there's also been an amazing response to the truth in other parts of India too.
Amazing response. Now, what do you mean by amazing response?
Well, there's been reports of congregations where there's 50 publishers where over 850 people have attended the memorial. For example, in places like Kushambi and Allahabad.
And brothers have been sent into untouched territories, into villages, where villagers just came out, sit on ground and listen to brothers for hours.
Those are such interesting reports. What about you personally? I mean, what have you personally experienced as far as response to the truth?
Brother, when I was a pioneer back in my congregation, I find people were very, very nice. They're always ready to listen. It wasn't difficult to start 2 or 3 Bible studies in a day. And eventually I came to a point that I couldn't continue house to house because I had so many Bible studies.
It's fantastic. What makes the people so eager to listen?
Well, the Indian people in general are spiritually minded. And the majority do believe in the existence of a God, or even many gods.
And many people feel downtrodden and overlooked, and so they are drawn to the love and respect that they experience amongst the brothers.
And especially when they learn about a creator who actually loves them and cares for them, it changes their viewpoint towards themselves, and that also helps them to come in truth.
Well, given the need and the response that you're getting, can you get help from other places, like brothers or publishers from other countries?
Absolutely. In fact, every year we organize special campaigns to try to cover some of our unworked territory. And we have friends come from other countries who support these campaigns.
And how does that work out?
Well, the friends who come really enjoy themselves. They enjoy themselves so much that they often come back again for longer periods of time.
So you have need graders in India.
We do.
Could you use more?
Oh yes, please. And there is also a growing sign language field in India.
The deaf field is one of the fastest growing fields in India. For example, a few years ago there was no deaf congregations, but today we have 13 congregations and over 46 pre-groups and groups.
Wow, again, that's amazing response. Well, what kind of sign language do you use in India? Is it similar to American Sign Language?
No, we have Indian Sign Language, which is very natural and very easy to learn. Actually, I can help you to learn some.
You can try.
Yeah, okay. So for a sign for women is like this because they wear nose rings. And for sign for men is like this because they have mustaches. Not all, of course. And then if I just do an act like I'm eating a fruit. So now I'm going to do a sign and let's see if you can understand. You can guess.
You're giving me a test.
Yeah, it's from Bible. It's very easy. So if I do like, which Bible character?
Eve.
Oh, very good. And if I do like, then?
Adam.
Wow, very good.
I'm on my way to learning Indian Sign Language.
Yes, yes.
Excellent. And Brother Stovall, the deaf people are really drawn to the attention they receive in the congregation because unfortunately in the Indian society they are neglected. For example, there was a brother who was trying to contact a deaf man to arrange for a meeting. So the deaf man asked if he can bring a friend along. And when the brothers arrived at his village, they found the interested person, the deaf man, and not just one of his friends were with him, but 136 of his deaf friends had come along with him to listen.
Incredible. How in the world could the brothers speak to 136 people?
Well, there was a school nearby, And so they divided the full group into classrooms there.
Well, I can see there is a tremendous amount of work to do in India.
And we have a lovely video to show it to you.
A video.
Yes.
Let's watch.
Have you considered India? You may have a list of questions, such as, is there really a great need in India? Here are the facts. For every one witness, there are about 27,000 potential brothers and sisters. What about the response? Those who have moved here are finding as many progressive Bible studies as they can handle. Are you a married couple? Are you a single person? No matter what your situation, the thought of moving to India must raise questions. Like, what about the food? What about the culture? How will I get around? What is it like to live here? With some research, the answer may surprise you. We all are searching for those rightly disposed for everlasting life. If you are praying for a fuller share in this work, ask Jehovah if He will help you step over into India.
What a fascinating view of India. So, how do you feel as you see the work really taking off in India?
Well, there is no doubt that the end is so close. And we all feel that now is the time for India. And therefore, we are very much excited to see what Jehovah has in store for us there.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing these things with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How encouraging to hear how our young ones were faithful under the ban, and to see what our brothers in Romania are doing today. And when you heard those reports from India, were you not reminded of Jesus' words, "The fields are white for harvesting," and his further words, "Beg the master to send more workers into the harvest"? We live in exciting times. May Jehovah continue to bless you and your efforts to serve Him until we're together again to get the inside story.
Well, that was absolutely delightful. Thank you, Brother Stovall, and everyone involved in producing that video that we just had the privilege of enjoying.